The Galactic Council had gathered once more in the grand chamber known as the Zenith Hall, a colossal structure that hovered above the swirling, gas-covered planet of Viridian. The hall itself was an architectural marvel, built thousands of cycles ago by the very first members of the Council, and its walls shimmered with symbols representing the various races that had risen to prominence over the millennia. Above, the dome of the chamber was transparent, giving a perfect view of the stars, their constellations constantly shifting as Viridian spun slowly on its axis. Today's meeting was supposed to be a routine one, a discussion of trade regulations between the gas mining colonies of Kalas III and the industrial hubs on the Corian Belt. However, something far more pressing had occurred, something that none of the esteemed council members could have anticipated. The Supreme Archivist, an elder of the Atheran race, a species known for their elongated, almost ethereal forms and their vast intellectual capacity, stood in the center of the hall. His voice, though quiet, commanded the attention of everyone present. "Counselors," he began, his voice echoing slightly in the grand chamber, "we have uncovered something extraordinary. It was found during an archaeological expedition on the planet of Drathor, in the Gamma Quadrant, in the ruins of what we believe to be a long-extinct civilization." The murmur of conversation that had filled the chamber just moments before fell silent. Drathor was a desolate planet, its surface barren and lifeless after an ancient catastrophe. For centuries, it had been considered a place of no real importance, a remnant of a forgotten past. The archivist gestured to the holographic interface beside him, and a series of ancient symbols appeared in the air above the assembly. The symbols were intricate, their design unfamiliar to many of the council members, save for a few who specialized in galactic anthropology. "These symbols," the archivist continued, "are from a culture that predates many of the civilizations we know today. Our team has dated them to approximately 50,000 cycles before the formation of the Galactic Council itself. It was during the process of translating these symbols that we discovered something unexpected." The holographic display flickered, and a new set of symbols appeared, symbols that caused an immediate reaction among the council members. The translation of the ancient script appeared beneath the symbols humans. The chamber was momentarily stunned into silence. The word had no place in the context of this ancient, advanced civilization. Humans were a relatively new species on the galactic stage, known only for their small, struggling colonies on the fringes of galactic space. They had yet to achieve widespread recognition in the Council, their homeworld of Earth considered too underdeveloped for serious diplomatic engagement. And yet, here was their name, inscribed in texts tens of thousands of cycles old. The silence was broken by a voice from the Counselor of the Thraxians, a towering figure with iridescent, insect-like eyes and an exoskeleton that shimmered with colors depending on the light. "Archivist, are you certain of this translation?" His voice clicked as he spoke, a distinct feature of the Thraxian speech patterns. The archivist nodded solemnly. "There is no mistake, Counselor. The translation has been verified by multiple scholars. The word humans is present in these texts, along with a series of references that suggest they were known to this ancient civilization, known, and perhaps even revered. Revered." The word sent a ripple through the council members. For eons, humans had been seen as an inferior race, slowly climbing the ladder of galactic society but far from reaching the heights of the council races. They were resilient, yes, but nothing about them had suggested a deeper significance until now. Counselor Vara of the Kralaxians, a race of amphibious beings known for their sharp political instincts, leaned forward in her seat. Her webbed fingers drummed rhythmically on the table before her, as her emerald eyes narrowed in thought. "You're telling us," she began, her voice smooth and calculating, "that this civilization, which existed thousands of cycles before any of us, had contact with humans. How is that possible? Humans have only recently reached the level of spacefaring technology." The archivist took a deep breath, his hands clasped in front of him. "That is the mystery, Counselor. The text suggests that humans were not just known to this ancient race, they were considered beings of great potential, beings that could influence the very fabric of the galaxy. A low hum of disbelief and confusion spread across the room. The council members, many of whom had lived for centuries and seen countless civilizations rise and fall, were unaccustomed to surprises of this magnitude. Councillor Drax, representing the Zotharian Empire built on conquest and war, spoke next. His voice was deep and gravelly, and his broad, muscular frame seemed to tense as he addressed the hall. Potential for what, exactly? He demanded. How could a species like humans, barely capable of sustaining themselves, be considered important by an ancient race? The archivist turned his gaze to the holographic display. According to the texts, humans possess a unique connection to certain cosmic energies that this ancient civilization believed could reshape the future of the galaxy. They called it the essence of creation. The phrase caused another stir among the council. The concept of the essence of creation was not entirely new. Many civilizations had myths and legends about such forces, but they were often dismissed as mere folklore or spiritual superstition. Yet here, in these ancient scriptures, the idea was given scientific and cultural weight. Councillor Atraxis, a member of the Eterians, a race known for their pursuit of knowledge and technological advancement, adjusted the data screen in front of her, her mind racing through the implications. Are we to believe, she said cautiously, that humans possess some kind of latent ability tied to this essence? The archivist nodded again. The texts are fragmented, but they suggest that humans, unlike any other species, have a natural affinity for this energy. It is an ability that has been dormant for millennia, perhaps due to the collapse of their early civilizations, but the potential remains. The hall erupted into chaotic discussion. Council members whispered to one another, their voices ranging from skeptical to alarmed. If this discovery was true, it meant that humans were far more significant than anyone had ever imagined. It also posed an uncomfortable question: if humans were so important, why had they remained in the shadows of galactic history for so long? Supreme Chancellor Kothar, an ancient being from the Luminaris race and the current leader of the Galactic Council, finally spoke. His voice was deep and resonant, cutting through the commotion. This discovery changes everything, he said gravely. We cannot ignore the implications. If humans are indeed connected to this essence of creation, then they may be the key to forces far beyond our understanding. Councillor Tarek, representing the Torva, a nomadic race with a rich history of mysticism, leaned forward, his eyes glinting with curiosity. If this is true, it would mean that humans are not just another species to be observed from afar. They are central to something much larger than we have ever considered. But with this realization came fear. Councillor Sarah of the Arkari, a race known for their aggressive expansionism, voiced the concern many were beginning to feel. If humans possess such power, what happens when they realize it? Will they become a threat to the established order of the galaxy? The question hung in the air, unanswered. The archivist stepped forward again. There is more. The texts mention that this knowledge has been hidden from humanity for their own protection. They were meant to evolve slowly, without the burden of this potential. But his voice faltered slightly. The texts also suggest that a time is coming when their connection to the essence will awaken. The councillors exchanged glances. An awakening? What did that mean? Could it be that humanity was on the verge of discovering its own latent powers? And if so, how would the rest of the galaxy respond? Chancellor Kothar looked to the archivist, his eyes narrowing. What do you propose we do with this information? The archivist hesitated. That is for the council to decide, Chancellor. But I believe we must tread carefully. If this knowledge becomes public, it could destabilize everything we have built over the millennia. I suggest we initiate a covert investigation, observe the humans more closely, and determine if they are beginning to show signs of this awakening. Kothar nodded slowly, his mind already racing with the possibilities. Very well. We will discuss this matter further in closed session, but for now I agree we must act cautiously. The balance of power in the galaxy may depend on it. As the council members began to rise from their seats, whispers of concern and intrigue filled the hall. The discovery of the ancient scriptures had changed everything. The humans, once considered insignificant, were now at the center of a mystery that could alter the course of galactic history. The only question that remained was how long they had before the humans themselves uncovered the truth. The Grand Zenith Hall stood empty in the silence of the night, its walls no longer echoing the shocked murmurs of the Galactic Council. The council members had dispersed, their minds heavy with the weight of the discovery made earlier that day. But beyond the stillness of the chamber, a storm was brewing. The secret that had been uncovered, the ancient reference to humans in long-forgotten scriptures, was already setting in motion a series of events that would change the course of the galaxy. Hours after the meeting adjourned, Supreme Chancellor Kothar convened a select group of counselors for an emergency session. This group, handpicked for their loyalty and discretion, consisted of the most influential and politically savvy beings from various star systems. They gathered in a private chamber beneath the Zenith Hall, a room shielded from any form of surveillance. This meeting was not part of the official council record. The fate of the galaxy, they believed, could not be left to the public. As the counselors took their seats around a polished obsidian table, Chancellor Kothar's expression was grave. He glanced at each of them in turn: Vara of the Kralaxians, Drax of the Zathari, Atraxis of the Eterians, and Tarek of the Torva, before finally speaking. "We are in uncharted territory," Kothar said, his voice low but firm. "The discovery we made today has the potential to disrupt the very foundation of our alliance. If what the Archivist has found is true, the humans may hold power far beyond what we have ever imagined, and that is something we cannot allow to go unchecked." Counselor Vara, always quick to analyze a situation from every angle, leaned forward, her emerald eyes narrowing. "What is our goal here, Chancellor? Do we contain this information, or do we act? If the humans truly possess the ability to tap into this essence of creation, we may be too late to stop them." Drax, ever the warrior, slammed his fist on the table, causing a subtle tremor to ripple across the room. His voice, gruff and forceful, cut through the air. "I say we act now. Humans are weak. They've barely scratched the surface of their potential, if they even have any at all. We should strike while they are still unaware of what they possess. Eliminate the threat before it grows." Atraxis, more measured in her approach, raised a hand to calm the tension in the room. "We cannot afford to be reckless, Drax. If we openly attack the humans, we risk igniting a galactic war, and we have no concrete evidence yet that they are even aware of this latent ability. Any action we take must be subtle, calculated." Chancellor Kothar nodded. "Atraxis is right. We must first understand the extent of this power, if it even exists. The humans have remained oblivious to their potential for millennia. We need to determine if their awakening is inevitable, or if it can be suppressed." Tarek, whose race had a deep connection to the mystical forces of the universe, spoke softly, but with a sense of urgency. "The texts mention that the humans' connection to the essence of creation has been dormant for millennia. But such a force cannot remain hidden forever. The stars themselves are aligning in ways we have not seen in eons. The signs of awakening are all around us, if we choose to see them." His words hung in the air, a reminder that not all threats were physical. The essence, though shrouded in mystery, was a force that transcended mere weaponry or technology. If humans truly were the key to unlocking it, the consequences would be far-reaching and unpredictable. Kothar stood, his hands clasped behind his back as he paced slowly around the room. "We will not act hastily. Our first step must be to gather intelligence. We will monitor human activity more closely, focus on their leaders, their scientists, their military. We need to know if any of them are beginning to exhibit signs of this awakening." Counselor Vara nodded in agreement. "We could send agents to Earth, infiltrate their institutions, and gather information. We must be certain before we take any drastic steps." Kothar paused, then turned to the group. "I have already taken the liberty of authorizing a covert mission. A team of our best operatives will be dispatched to Earth immediately. Their objective will be to observe, report, and, if necessary, intervene. Drax grunted in approval. Good. If we find that the humans are starting to realize their power, we'll be ready to crush them. Axis, ever cautious, raised an eyebrow. And what if we discover that they are more advanced in their knowledge of the essence than we thought? What if they are already preparing to use it? The room fell silent again. It was a question none of them wanted to consider, yet it was a possibility they could not ignore. Kothar's eyes darkened. If that is the case, then we will have no choice but to take more decisive action. But until we have concrete evidence, we will proceed with caution. The meeting concluded shortly after, the counselors leaving the room one by one, each deep in thought. As they departed, Chancellor Kothar lingered for a moment longer, staring out at the stars through the narrow window at the back of the room. He knew that the path ahead was fraught with danger. The humans, once dismissed as insignificant, were now at the center of a mystery that could unravel everything the Galactic Council had worked for. On the far side of the galaxy, a sleek, dark vessel slipped unnoticed into Earth's orbit. The ship, cloaked in advanced stealth technology, hovered silently, undetectable by the planet's primitive defense systems. Aboard the vessel, a team of elite operatives from the Galactic Council's covert division prepared for their mission. Their leader, a hardened veteran named Kale Ren, stood at the helm, surveying the planet below. His sharp, predatory eyes, characteristic of his Ultorian race, scanned the blue-green orb with cold precision. "We're in position," his second-in-command reported, her voice steady and professional. "The humans have no idea we're here." Kale Ren nodded. "Good. We begin infiltration at dawn. Our targets are key figures in human leadership, their scientific community, and their military. We need to know if any of them are aware of the essence of creation." The team dispersed, each operative donning advanced camouflage suits that would allow them to blend seamlessly into Earth's environment. Their mission was clear: observe, gather intelligence, and if necessary, prevent the humans from realizing the full extent of their power. Meanwhile, on Earth, life continued as usual, blissfully unaware of the galactic forces at play. In the quiet laboratories of various research facilities, human scientists were on the verge of discoveries they could not yet comprehend. Their research into quantum fields and cosmic energy had led to anomalous results, phenomena that defied their current understanding of the universe. To them, it was simply another puzzle to be solved. But to the Galactic Council, it was a sign of something far more dangerous. In a secluded military base, a high-ranking general named Marcus Reed sat at his desk, poring over classified reports. Strange occurrences had been cropping up across the globe: unexplained energy surges, technological malfunctions, and sightings of unidentified objects in the skies. The general had dismissed them at first, chalking them up to coincidence or faulty equipment. But now, with the increasing frequency of these incidents, he was beginning to suspect that something more sinister was at play. Little did General Reed know that his suspicions were being monitored. As he sat in his office, Kale Ren and his team were already inside the base, silently observing from the shadows. The Galactic Council's operatives moved with the precision of phantoms, their presence undetected by even the most advanced human security systems. Kale Ren watched as General Reed stared at the reports on his desk, his brow furrowed in thought. The operative's eyes narrowed. "He's close," Kale Ren whispered into his communicator. "He's starting to put the pieces together." "Do we act?" his second-in-command asked, her voice barely audible over the encrypted comms. "Not yet," Kale Ren replied. "We wait. Let him gather more information. We need to know how much he's figured out before we make our move." Elsewhere on Earth, similar scenes were unfolding. Human scientists were unknowingly approaching the very edge of their understanding, flirting with forces they did not yet grasp. Each step they took brought them closer to awakening the dormant power within them. And all the while, the Galactic Council's operatives were watching, waiting, and preparing to act if the situation escalated. Days turned into weeks, and the tension within the Galactic Council continued to mount. The reports from the operatives on Earth were troubling. The humans, though still unaware of the full extent of their potential, were beginning to stumble upon clues, fragments of knowledge that hinted at their connection to the essence of creation. In one particularly alarming report, Cale Wren detailed an incident in which a group of human scientists had successfully harnessed a small amount of energy from an unknown cosmic source. Though they had no understanding of what they had tapped into, the implications were clear. The humans were getting closer to unlocking the power that the Council feared. The Council met once more in secret, their expressions grim as they reviewed the latest findings. Chancellor Kothar, his brow furrowed in deep thought, spoke first. "We're running out of time. The humans are getting too close." Vara, her voice tense, asked the question that had been on everyone's mind. "What do we do? Do we neutralize them before it's too late?" Kothar looked around the room, weighing the options. "We cannot afford to wait much longer. If the humans awaken their connection to the essence, they will be unstoppable. We may need to initiate a more permanent solution." The decision, though unspoken, hung heavy in the air. The fate of an entire species rested in their hands. Whether the humans would live to see their potential realized or be snuffed out before they had the chance to awaken remained uncertain. And as the stars continued their slow, inevitable alignment, the clock was ticking.